So what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology. iPhone 6s on iOS 15. How does it run? Now we're going to begin with a boot up test in 3, 2, 1 and see how long it does take to turn on. Now this device did launch on September 9th, 2015. That would make it 6 years old here in September, and it's going to get this latest official version, but that doesn't mean it's going to be great. That doesn't mean it's going to run great. So let's just kind of see what it kind of runs like on the first beta here. It's going to get better through more updates coming soon, and especially by the official, but the boot up time was around 24 to 25 seconds. So that's pretty respectable considering this phone is almost 6 years old. All right, so let's go ahead and confirm the software. So we'll go to Geekbench 5 right here, and you can see iOS 15 on board here. This is the developer beta 1 Apple A9 clocked in at around 1.85 gigahertz with 2 gigabytes of RAM for the iPhone 6s. You can see the one wallpaper that comes with the beta. Also right here, you'll see the focus modes that'll let you know that we are on the iOS 15 beta as well. So definitely running 15 here, pretty sweet. Looking on an older phone like this, just pretty amazing that you can do this for such an older device. It just kind of keeps you feeling like at least your phone, if you haven't been able to update yet, is still pretty fresh. Okay guys, so what I want to do here is just kind of swipe through the home screens, kind of see if we get any lag on here. And so far, this is surprisingly smooth considering how old this device is. So A9 was a good year for Apple when they did announce this phone, and then coming after that was the original iPhone SE. It was one of the faster chips of the time, and it held on pretty good. A10 was much better, but I will say one thing. We went down from 100 to 93 in no time. In addition, the back is getting quite warm. Now I had this issue with 14 betas as well for the 6S, so this is nothing new here. But overall, I gotta say the swipe mechanisms and just the way it kind of feels, the overall fluidity, it's definitely usable. Definitely nothing that's gonna be unusable, you know, to the average user here on iOS 15, just navigating the user interface. Pretty impressive for such an older device. Okay, so what I wanna do here is kind of go through some applications to kind of see how they do perform. Let's go to apps here, just kind of get a speed check right here. And you can see there is a little bit of a delay when loading stuff up. It's not super fast or anything like that. You will see much quicker speeds on the newer iPhone SE of 2020. If you like this body and you still want speed, get this one right here, the SE 2020. You'll be very happy. We'll go over here to games, and you can see the loading times definitely a bit slower here for iPhone 6s. But again, this is only beta 1. This might improve, but being that the chipset is really old, I don't expect it to get super fast here. But you can see if you have a little bit of patience, you can definitely go ahead and get into these applications right here. And this is still performing better than what I seen the iPhone 5s perform like after it got really old. So I think what really helped the iPhone was the 2 gigabytes of RAM and improving the processor, which Apple kept working on. So you can see you can definitely go into applications and they load relatively fast. Just sometimes there is a little bit of a slowdown when first loading up stuff for the iPhone 6s. Let's go over here to news, kind of see how this does look here. You can see just a little bit of patience and you can get into your application. Let's go ahead and go into iMovie right here. Again, the animation quite a bit slower than what you're used to on some current day iPhones, but can you edit? Let's go to edit here. And the answer is yes. Great optimization allows you to still do some editing. Where's my battery at? Down another 5%. In just a few minutes there, focus went out of focus. But definitely feeling quite a bit warm here. However, if your battery capacity is low, you can simply change it and you should be able to get through. Now I want to open up a couple more Apple applications. How about Translate? You can see there are new Translate features here for iOS 15, and I gotta say a little bit of patience, but still performing better than something like an iPhone 6, for example. So definitely usable. This is a usable phone here, even with iOS 15. It is not snappy whatsoever. It's not super quick at all, but it can run applications pretty respectably if you have a little bit of patience. And let's go ahead and open up some Instagram right here to kind of see how this does perform here. You can see you can definitely do your social media just fine. I mean, this is crazy. It's a functional phone for sure. No major delays, Nothing, I mean, of course, it's not snappy like boom, 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 but no major delays here when opening this stuff up. And you still have that clicky home button from the past there, Touch ID. How does that perform here? This is this is unusually fast here for our first beta. So usually we get some lag and delay. Not seeing much of that. Battery is pretty much trash right now. But again, I don't have the highest capacity on this phone. Very happy with how this is running right now. Let's go ahead and go through those applications I recently opened here. So we went into news. You can see it held that just fine. We were in Instagram. It's holding that just fine. We did go into the App Store as well, holding that just fine. What about the different sections? Not sure we opened Arcade right there, but definitely holding some of those applications in the background. We did go into iMovie. Look at this. Pretty respectable. I mean, that's like 6 apps or so. How many apps are going to keep open on a 2 gig of RAM iPhone at once? I'm sure it's not many. How does Control Center perform here as well? Definitely looking good. What about 3D Touch? Still snappy on 3D Touch right there. Man, you probably would not expect this phone to be performing like this at this point. But really, it's kind of shocking me here for a first beta on the iPhone 6s. But when I went to the left here, going over here to these widgets, it did seem to slow down just a little bit in that respect. And I will say some of the applications when you first boot this thing on from the first beta do take a bit of time to turn on and kind of get loaded up, but pretty good, pretty functional for being this old. And one more thing before we run the benchmarks, let's go ahead and see kind of how it performs when we are editing the home screen and moving applications around. See if we get any lag in this respect. All right, so I'm here in widgets and kind of see how it performs here in widgets as well. When we add a widget to the home screen, let's bring this around. You can see this also performs pretty well. Now what I want to do here is go ahead and run, you've seen a little bit of a delay there. What I want to do here is go ahead and run a Geekbench 5 to kind of see how the CPU benchmark is right now on iOS 15. I'll be back when this is done. Okay, so the scores are pretty much in line with what we expect from the iPhone 6s. So usually it averages around 542. And on the multi-core, it actually didn't come too far off the average for the 6s. So performing about the same as it was, you know, prior to doing this update. So pretty respectable. Remember, these scores are really low because when they moved to Geekbench 5, they changed the scoring system. So it was a lot, the points came down versus the older Geekbench 4. If you're wondering why those scores look so low, but this is pretty much in line with what you would expect from an iPhone 6s. So thumbs up on that one as well. We'll go over here to 3D Mark, and don't let me make you think that this is like really good performance. We are in 2021. We are reviewing an iPhone 6s. I'm just saying for what it is, for the age it is, it's pretty exceptional. Now, when it comes to comparatively to newer iPhones, to newer Android devices, this thing is a snail. But when it comes to comparable devices of this year, this is kind of impressive. I'll be back when the 3D Mark Wildlife benchmark is done. All right, guys, so this phone is almost burning my fingers hot right now, but we scored an overall score of 1878 with a very bad average frame rate of 11.2. So not a great score here. Your score is better than 67% of the scores for iPhone 6s. So mine not performing the best here in 3D Mark. However, the Geekbench was performing well. Maybe it's iOS 15 beta and it's just not optimized for that app. That could be a reason, but it also is not going to be the best phone for gaming here in 2021. However, I will say it's still a functional device that can still run day-to-day applications even on this first beta. However, I strongly advise you don't download the beta on this phone if it's your main device. It will cause battery drain and optimization issues. So the iPhone 6s, you are going to get most of the features that you've come to learn about iOS 15. If you haven't learned much about it, check out my beta video. I'll leave that link down below in the description. But let's take a look at one more thing, and that is the camera. Let's just kind of see how fast it can launch here and take a photo, and that's still respectable for 2021. So you shouldn't have an issue getting your favorite moments. This is an issue I was having on some older iPhones. As they aged, the camera became so slow that you might even miss a moment, but it doesn't look like you're going to miss that here for the iPhone 6s. Even video still looking pretty decent on this phone. So overall, I gotta say, This year, you might want to consider upgrading the 6S just because the older chipset, this should be the last update for this phone. You're not going to have much more support. But if this is all you're able to use right now in the iPhone line, I totally understand. This phone right here definitely will be a functional device on iOS 15. This beta 1 is proving it. This is just beta 1 and it's already functional. It might go down as a classic just because it's performing pretty good, being that this phone is about to reach 6 years old. So anyway, let me know your thoughts on the iPhone 6S, and I'm considering doing a How Does It Run series where I not only cover this 6S, but I'm going to start bringing more of the other iPhones on iOS 15 so you can see how they perform. If you want to see that, give this video a very big thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. Nick here helping you to master your technology. I'll catch you all in the next video, and peace.